I'm trying to do this. Does anyone care anymore that, sorry, I'm sick, that this is my top 10 books of, my tops?
Wow.
2025. What year is it? 2026 now. Yeah, I'm a little late to the party, but whatever. I'm gonna do it for posterity. Okay. And honestly, my only resolution or like attempt at anything this year is to like deepen learning. I'm not gonna say this right, but basically to not just consume, and that includes books for me. Because when someone asks like, what are you reading or what's a good book, I literally I haven't read a book in my life. So in actually tracking what I read in 2025, that helped because I wrote like small notes. And then in trying to get down to like a top 10 or shortlist it, that also helped because I had to even remember what I read. I don't know if I'm alone on that, but yeah, I think sometimes I just consume, and it's not just serums or striped shirts, it's books, and that's no way to really enjoy them.
What's going on?
Question mark? Anyway, let's get into it. Number 10, On the Calculation of Volume by, I can't pronounce her name. A lot of books I read this year or that I ranked top 10 ended up being not originally written in English. So that's kind of cool. What does that mean? This book was so beautiful. I did read all three, but if I have to be technical and give it to one, it's absolutely the first one. I think the first one could stand alone on its own because it's so different to me, and I literally read it as a metaphor, and then when I read the second and third books, I was like, oh, she was being serious. Like, this is kind of not magical realism, but I guess, which isn't, I'm not really into that. But they were still amazing, so that's how good they were. Maybe I'll read a synopsis, because otherwise, like, how do you even know what I'm talking about? Let's see. Here we go. On the Calculation of Volume is a celebrated series of literary fiction novels by Danish author Solveig Baal, where the protagonist relives the same day, November 18th, repeatedly, exploring existential themes and the nature of time through meticulous observation. The series praised for its deep philosophical meditation on life and interconnectedness, uses the time loop to examine isolation, purpose, and the richness found in moments through detailed prose, with the main character aging and interacting with a world that resets. Yeah. So basically when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh, it's like Groundhog Day. Like, is this just like kind of a gimmicky literary device? It's not. I feel like it really pulled it off so beautifully. And yeah, it just covered so many themes. Again, for me, the first book I literally just read as one long, beautiful metaphor for like the breakdown of a relationship, being with someone but not being with someone, like the loneliness, like her descriptions of knowing and listening to the sounds that her husband makes in the house and like knowing him by those sounds. And yeah, it was just like, it was great. It was fairly short to read. I think it took her, I was trying to read interviews with her. She said the idea came to her in 1987 and was like a stupid idea, but she couldn't shake it. So she eventually started writing it. It's like almost 40 years in the making. For me, it was just such a statement on isolation and like depression. In the second book, she does kind of re-enter the world, even though she can't make contact with her husband. But again, that was like such a metaphor for re-emerging into society and attempting to make connections, even though you feel like apart and othered. It's just such a creative and, again, not gimmicky book where the premise, I was like, this is dumb. Like, the premise to me was like a creative writing experiment. And then I liked reading how the author herself was like, this is a stupid idea. But what came of it was so incredible and continues. Like, I pre-ordered the fourth book that comes out, I think, in April of 26. I don't know. I love stories about almost like singular, isolated characters, and not the depraved things they do, but just like they're weird and they're not normal or like in society. Like, I love how she kind of like crashes these hotel rooms and is just like, yeah, kind of feral. I don't know. It's great. It definitely, for the unique theme and how she pulled it off, like I've never read a book like this, even though we're sort of familiar with the trope of like Groundhog Day and other things like that, but this was not that. And for that reason and many others, it gets number 10. Number 9, The Safekeep by Yael van der Wooden. I would. This book was crazy. Like, I read it in public spaces. I was flying a lot in December randomly for work and to see family all over, and so I was at like airport gates and on an airplane, like a long flight, and like it gets a little racy. So I was like, are people gonna kick me off this plane? Like, I was blushing. But it so isn't just that. It was such a beautiful history lesson and statement and lesbian love story. That's not really a spoiler alert. The writing was so beautiful. I swear the only things I know about history are from reading fiction and like watching shows. This covers like, it's in, I want to say Amsterdam. I'm not retaining the historical facts, but yeah, there's like this thread throughout of like this crazy historical war, the very human, kind of flawed, complex stories of how, especially as a child, this main character doesn't even really question where their house has come from and where a lot of their possessions have come from. Again, like on The Calculation of Volume, this is kind of a singular main character woman who's a bit of a freak, definitely solitary and alone, but just like amazing characters. Even like her brother, all the characters were so good, and it was just so honest and kind of like scathing, like her judgment on meeting her brother's girlfriend or fiance. Anyway, I guess I should read a summary of this, but basically like she is alone in this big estate house, and her brother's kind of like trashy, weird girlfriend, fiance, has to stay with her for an extended period of time, and she's like not into it. She hates this woman. She's so annoyed by her. And then it really explores all of that, how like we're triggered by people and repression, and yeah, it was just so interesting. And it made me sad that actual stories like this are certainly buried and we'll never really know, but the way that this author kind of fictionalized it, but it had to have happened like that too so often. So yeah, I learned a lot. I really loved it. And it was about the walls we put up as people, introversion, denial, like it was so many things. Yeah, I highly recommend this book. It's racy, but again, not in like a tawdry, weird way. I read it, I think I finished it in a hotel room and was like, damn. And it was so good that I chose to read it instead of watch Love Island. So there you go. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, number 8, Stay True by, not gonna say this name right either. Winner of the Pulitzer Prize, okay. I think in 2022. This book, like, have you ever had a friend? I haven't really lately, but this was such a nostalgic, gorgeous book. It's not even fiction. I guess it's like memoir. But yeah, it depicts his unlikely relationship with a college friend named Ken, a friendship that was unexpectedly and tragically cut short when Ken was killed in a carjacking in 98. But yeah, again, that time, like if you're a millennial or near that, culturally, I just think it was such a good walk down memory lane, and the references culturally, and yeah, they're like these cool hip-hop Asian boys, but they're also nerds, and it just like was heartbreaking and so beautiful, and like a love letter to his friend. So okay, book number 7. This is the only book I actually have a physical copy of. Happy Hour by Marlo Granados. Toronto also, hey, imagine I saw her one day. This book was also published from the publisher Flying Books, which I love. Great local bookstore. It was just a perfect book. It was like, again, reminiscent of youthful, idiotic times. These two girls are in New York, basically just like wreaking havoc, dating men they'll never care to remember. It was funny, it was sad, it was real. It just had a really strong narrative voice, and I loved it. Let me see. The Globe and Mail says, Happy Hour feels like both a time capsule of millennial life circa 2013 and a taste of what promises to be one of the most entertaining chroniclers of the particular social mores of a specific subset of Gen Y. Granados writes about clothes and style the way that Nora Ephron writes about food. Yeah, it was just good. I'm currently reading Flat Earth, which is like people are mad about and it's controversial. I would almost class this in the same category of like kind of beautiful, messy, sceney girls. This was a beautiful book and I highly recommend it. Do I have other things to say? Yeah, probably, but let's just keep it going, you know? It made the top 10 for a reason, so just trust me. What did I flag here? Ooh, this was a nice quote. This is why I defaced the book. He asked, "What's the problem, Issa?" And tired of being coy all the time, I wanted to say, "I like when you are tender with me. I wish you were tender all the time." It was the feeling that his tenderness was selective, and I wanted to be the object of all of it. I have tried to stitch together tenderness from each person, wring them of it. I want all the tenderness in the world. It's a natural urge to want to be important in someone's life, the soft underbelly of a coarse man. A preview is never enough because I am insatiable. It was really good. Yeah. Okay, moving on. This is going to be a long video that no one will watch. Oh, another one that Perfection by Vincenzo Latronico, another book that was written originally in Italian, which I love. Hopefully I can read it in Italian if I get good enough. This was another book that after the fact, after I had even reviewed it in a short and loved it and shortlisted it, it showed up in like a scathing review of Flat Earth and grouped it together in sort of this like bleak, edgelord, nihilist genre, which like I did not read the same book. Like I loved this book. I thought it was such an accurate depiction of the desire to leave where you're from, to do so and to feel accomplished just for having done so. Obviously it touches a lot on like the aesthetics and the social media thing and producing images of a life that doesn't necessarily reflect your actual life. But for me, it was such an accurate depiction of travel, like travel versus a vacation. This couple, they moved to Berlin and they work remotely. They're like creatives, and yeah, like it does talk about like taking perfect images of plants or aesthetics. Like, I don't know. I did not find it vacuous at all. I thought it was really good and it covered that kind of expectation versus reality. I don't know if we just can't appreciate stories written in our time now. Like it's like it made me think of the bad latest Sex and the City show, like just like that, where no one's really figured out, or very few people have figured out how to accurately depict how we use technology now in the art form like that. Because like on that show, she's like voice to texting, which is so cringe. Like, yeah, sometimes in movies we see like the text bubbles. I'll tell you where they nailed it was in, I think it's called Eddington, the like Joaquin Phoenix crazy movie. That did such a good job of showing how technology is just woven into our lives in everything. Like it showed characters watching a YouTube video on their phone and driving and like posting things, but in a way that was so organic and part of their world. But yeah, in terms of books, maybe we're just not there yet for people to not be like embarrassed by it. I don't know. This book was amazing to me, romanticizing delusions. I really just picked this book. I hadn't heard anything about it. And honestly, the cover just looked cute. And I was like, oh, this will be like a palate cleanser. Like, it's kind of a short read too. But I thought it was great. So maybe I am bleak and a vacuous nihilist. I don't know. But it made my top 10. So highly recommend. Okay, number 5, Phrase of Your Life by Ted Chiang. Wow. And wow. Is this allowed to be on this list? Because it's actually a collection of short stories, but they're all standalone outstanding. I would say my favorite one was one that was kind of like Limitless, that bad movie with Bradley Cooper, except amazing, where this guy participates in like a government medical drug testing trial, and his intelligence just like 10x's every day, hour, and it takes you through like him outsmarting everyone, and he finds another guy that went through the trial like him, and to communicate they signal each other through the markets. Like, it just takes the idea and goes to the end with it, and the end is insane. It's so good. It's so good. It's kind of like, I guess you could liken it to Black Mirror, but in such a superior way, because it does tackle kind of like societal things. One of the stories I didn't even realize till after was like that movie with what's her name, but the story was so much better than the movie, and I actually got it way more in the story. My second favorite in the book was one about beauty filters, which again could have turned into like Black Mirror, kind of cringy, but so good. The whole writing style reminds me of like that Isaac Asimov story, The Last Question or The Final Question. Damn. Yeah, I cannot recommend this book enough. It was so unique, so smart, so beautiful. Even the first story in Stories of Your Life was about like the Tower of Babylon. Why would I care about that? But it had me. It got me right into it. So I'm so impressed when the subject matter is like on paper something I would never care about, and then it's so well done and just grips me. Yeah. Should I make that number 1? I don't know. Now I'm rethinking these rankings. Number 4, The Comedians by Graham Greene. Yeah, Graham Greene. Wow. The vibe of Graham Greene, how do I explain this? Like, depressed expats, culture, old-timey style. If you like Mad Men, this is like Don Draper in foreign countries, you know, where it's like they're underdeveloped, there isn't like tourism yet. This is like old-timey travel. It's sort of like kind of The Sun Also Rises. Like, it's these like delinquent expats. They're just like, I don't know how they have money. They're messed up from the war. The guys are always these like tragic, emotionally unavailable figures, and it's so romantic. Yes, it's problematic, but this book just really did it for me. Also, I feel like I need to research it more, but Graham Greene was actually like a spy. He's written a million books, and I've read almost all of them, and this is really one of the top ones. They're not all bangers, okay? I remember reading and loving The End of the Affair. That was good. Yeah, I'm just such a sucker for like this Malaise type of tone, yet worldly, and yeah. Apparently they made it into a movie, but they changed it a lot to give Elizabeth Taylor a bigger role. Is it like respectful to women sometimes? I don't know. It's not politically correct sometimes, but yeah, it's really good writing. And you can tell when a writer's depressed and you're like, yes, you know? It's like they're world weary. They're always loving like the wife of some diplomat. It's impossible. They're smoking a lot. It's sort of in a more basic style found. I did finally read Madonna in a Fur Coat, but I thought that was like a little simplistic. This is good. This is really good. So yeah, the actual story, great question. It follows a cynical Welsh hotel owner in Haiti during Duvalier's brutal dictatorship, as he navigates political instability, a secret affair with a diplomat's wife, a friendship with a rebel, and encounters with shadowy figures, all while trying to sell his failing hotel amidst growing barbarism and fatalism. The story explores themes of betrayal, morality, and human frailty against a backdrop of political turmoil, featuring a cast of international characters caught in chaos. I loved it. And for that reason, it is number 4. Okay, now we're going to get into the top 3, basically on the Olympic podium. So I better have a sip of water before we do that. I'm just going for it. This is one long video. If you're watching it, you must be married to me, or I don't know, maybe you fell asleep, but thanks. After this, I'm going to have leftover pizza from Brooklyn something. It's really good. Is one of your resolutions to get abs? Same, but I have not been in the gym once. January is a sad month, so just go easy. Okay, top 3. Number 3. This is again kind of a series, so don't yell at me. If I have to pick one, I'll pick one. Basically, it's anything by Elena Ferrante. Elena Ferrante, another Italian, originally written in Italian. I finally read My Brilliant Friend, and then I went on to read all the others. I think there's 4. I also read 3 of her other books. And then when I finished reading this series, I found out it's an HBO show. So good. And then another one of her books I read in 2025, The Lying Life of Adults, I think it's called. That's a Netflix series in Italian. So yeah, if I had to pick out of these 4, probably the second one, which is called Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay. Just because these books literally follow these 2 friends for their entire lives. So in the second book, they're in their young adulthood and like early 20s, which in general is just kind of like the most exciting time in a lot of people's lives. A lot of shit happens. Yeah. I will say Elena is like kind of gritty. Like there's some darkness, especially in the first book. I was like, do I like this? But I do like it. I like it a lot. Also, way to bury the lead, no one knows who this author is. Like, she's hidden her identity, or managed to. There's speculation about who it is, but no one literally knows still. So there's even speculation that it's a man, but then people were saying that's not possible because she writes women and friendships and relationships between women so well, which I'd say I would have to agree with. If you love Italian shit, if you love descriptions of like Napoli, am I saying that right? Neapolitan, grimy, poverty, old-timey, and then it goes straight through all these years and how friendships, particularly with women, are so complex and they're almost like enemies sometimes. And I think she really touches on some of the more like sinister or dark features of like women and their innermost thoughts, and it's literally exact opposite of kind of the one-dimensional women characters in like a Graham Greene book, or so yeah, this is just she's great. Some of the other books, one of the books was like really dark, not in this series, but anyway, so in total, I think I read 8 books by her last year. And then she even wrote a couple on writing. So I have those queued up in my Kindle. She's just such a pleasure to read. So whoever she is, she's number 3. She gets the bronze. Number 2. Due. Okay, this was another one. This was partly written in Italian. God, I'm so local. Interpreter of Maladies, Jhumpa Lahiri. Basically anything by Jhumpa Lahiri. It was such a year of deep diving on certain authors like Elena Ferrante and Jhumpa Lahiri. I read 6 of her novels last year, and some of them are like short story collections. I think one of her most famous books is Interpreter of Maladies, so I just named that as like the spot, but literally everything she writes is gorgeous. That one won the Pulitzer in 2000 and kind of launched her into this crazy fame when she was just very young still, I think like 30 something. She was 32. Yeah, Roman Stories, Whereabouts I loved, Unaccustomed Earth I absolutely loved. All the stories were interconnected. The Lowlands, a little slow but beautiful, and I'm still thinking about those characters. The Namesake was so immersive. She wrote this article, I think it was like in Vogue or the New Yorker, about learning Italian like in adulthood. I think she was like in her 40s and then attempting to write in Italian. Incredible. Yeah, the writing's so beautiful. Again, it's that kind of outsider perspective on what it's like to immigrate to such a different country and not feel like you belong to kind of either of them, and the tug between both places, and family and identity and loneliness. And so that's that. Number 1, are you ready? It's Wild Dark Shore. Just kidding. I did not like that book. I know, and you can't convince me it was good. Sorry. Number 1, After the Parade by Laurie Ostlund. Truly one of the best books. This was her debut novel. She's also a short story author. I think that's how I found her in one of the like best fiction of volumes. This was such a heartbreaking, beautiful book. If in January you're watching this and you're depressed, as everyone is in January, this is such a good depressed novel to read, though maybe it would make you more depressed. I don't know, but it's just one of those books that you pick up and you're instantly like, yes. I could not put this book down. I read it in the month of March, which I spent in Costa Rica. So I had tons of time to just read and lounge, and I powered through this, and I was so sad to finish it. It's about this kind of like 40-year-old guy, and it sort of flashes around to his past. It reminded me a little bit of the characters in like Heather O'Neill's books and Lullabies for Little Criminals, where it's like objectionably now, especially reading these stories, it's like, oh, that was child abuse. Like this child was extremely neglected, but it's not dark like that. Like it's kind of humorous, and it absolutely doesn't stray away from kind of like the drama of this character's life, but it does so in such a kind of wholesome, heartbreaking, tragicomic way. All the characters are amazing. There's a weird, like, kind of almost Truman Capote character. I loved this main character and the story. It was so good. I don't know if I should even read a synopsis, but basically, let me see here. It covers his relationship with his father. It's almost like, I'm trying to liken it, it's almost like a Vonnegut, or like, you know, where there's clearly issues, like his dad was crazy. There's all these like very sad things that happen to this guy, but it's told in such a way that isn't like, I don't know, it's not so like, let's see here. After the Parade is about Aaron Englund, a 40-year-old teacher who leaves his long-term older partner, Walter, in New Mexico to start a new life in San Francisco. After 20 years with Walter, Aaron seeks to escape the Pygmalion-like control of their relationship and finally take charge of his own life. The story moves between Aaron's present in San Francisco and his upbringing in a small town in Minnesota, where he was raised by an enigmatic, often selfish mother, Dolores. Yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but it's just, it's okay, and it's described as tragicomic. Yeah, I really love that tone. For some reason, if it's just tragic, I'm like, I'm gonna go read something else. There's so much heart in this book, and it's just really beautiful. I can't recommend it enough, so much so that it's got the #1 spot. Yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. What are you reading in the new year? So far, I think I've read 6 books, and the best one has been either Under the Eye of the Big Bird and also State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. Ann Patchett is such a dirty dog. She's so good. So I already know that's going to be on the top 10 of 2026. Okay, thanks for watching. Wow, we did it. Let's go lie down. Bye.